His ranking is this man dependent on his birthday by directors. Like, ooh la la. Dependent on the birthday. Wow. You go on your birthday and end up independent. Wow. The link to the video will be the description on below. Go and check them out. So let's into this ranking in 3, 2, 1.
When 26-year-old Carson Hayes agreed to meet a stranger from a dating app for coffee, he expected awkward small talk and maybe a second date if things went well. He never expected to wake up 3 months later with a
Wow.
swollen belly, missing memories, and a baby growing inside him that shouldn't exist. What happened on that first date would haunt Carson forever, and the truth, when it finally came out, was more terrifying than he ever imagined.
Really?
Carson Hayes had been single for 2 years. After a painful breakup with his college girlfriend, he'd thrown himself into his job as a graphic designer and avoided dating completely.
Yeah.
His friends kept telling him to get back out there, to try the apps, to give love another chance. Finally, one Friday night after too much wine and too much loneliness, Carson downloaded a dating app. He scrolled through profiles half-heartedly until one caught his attention. Her name was Sienna. Dark hair, mysterious smile, profile that said she was a scientist visiting Portland for work. She seemed intelligent and interesting. They matched.
Yeah.
They messaged for a few days. The conversation flowed easily, discussing art, music, favorite books. Sienna suggested they meet for coffee that Saturday afternoon at a quiet cafe downtown. Carson agreed, nervous but hopeful. Maybe it was time to try again. The cafe was small and intimate, tucked away on a side street. Carson arrived first, ordering a black coffee and choosing a corner table. When Sienna walked in, she was even more striking in person, elegant, confident, with an intensity in her eyes that was both attractive and slightly unsettling. They talked for hours. Sienna was fascinating, a biochemist working on something she couldn't discuss in detail. She said, confidential research. Carson told her about his design work, his love of hiking, his dreams of traveling more. You're different from most people I meet, Sienna said, her eyes studying Carson's face with unusual focus. There's something special about you. Carson felt flattered, warmed by the attention. When Sienna suggested they continue the conversation over dinner, he immediately agreed. They went to a small Thai restaurant Sienna recommended. She ordered for both of them, dishes Carson had never tried, exotic and flavorful. He felt adventurous, alive for the first time in years. But as the evening wore on, Carson started feeling strange. The room seemed too warm. His thoughts felt fuzzy, disconnected. Sienna's voice sounded far away even though she was sitting right across from him. Are you okay? Sienna asked, her hand reaching across the table to touch his. I feel weird, Carson managed. Maybe I ate too fast. Let me help you to your car, Sienna offered. You probably just need some fresh air. Carson didn't remember leaving the restaurant. He didn't remember the walk to his car. The last clear memory he had was Sienna's face very close to his, her voice whispering something he couldn't understand. Then everything went black. Carson woke up in his own bed with the worst headache of his life. Sunlight streamed through his window, but something felt wrong. The angle of the light suggested late afternoon, not morning. He checked his phone. Sunday, 4 p.m. An entire day was missing. Carson's heart raced. What happened after the restaurant? How did he get home? Why couldn't he remember anything? He checked his apartment. Nothing seemed disturbed. His car was in its parking spot. His wallet and keys were on the nightstand. He found a text from Sienna sent Saturday night. Hope you got home safe. You weren't feeling well. Take care of yourself. Carson tried to remember, but there was nothing. Just a black void where Saturday night and all of Sunday should have been. He felt violated, confused, terrified. Had he been drugged? Had something happened to him? He tried calling Sienna. The number was disconnected. He checked the dating app. Her profile was gone, completely deleted. It was as if Sienna had never existed. Over the next few weeks, Carson tried to move on. He told himself he'd just had a bad reaction to the food, maybe gotten food poisoning, nothing sinister. But he couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong. Then the symptoms started. Constant nausea, especially in the mornings.
Oh. Yep. Infinite.
Exhaustion so deep that Carson could barely make it through a workday. Strange food cravings.
Yep. It's He's pregnant. Yep. He is 100% pregnant. Yep.
Pickles and ice cream at 2 a.m.,
Yep. He pregnant.
combinations that made no sense.
Yep.
His
He
body
pregnant.
started changing. His stomach began to swell,
Yep. He is pregnant. Yep.
firm and round. Weight accumulated only in his midsection while the rest of him stayed the same. His chest felt tender. His emotions were all over the place, crying at commercials, mood swings that came out of nowhere. Carson convinced himself it was stress, or maybe a tumor. He was terrified to see a
Yeah. Tumor.
doctor, afraid of what they might
Pregnant.
find.
He's a
But
baby.
at 3 months, when his pants wouldn't button and coworkers started making comments about his beer belly, Carson finally made
Yeah.
an
Be.
appointment.
Be. But.
Dr.
Be.
Nathan Park examined Carson with growing confusion. The abdominal swelling was significant and unusual. Blood work showed hormone levels that made no medical sense for a young male patient. I'm ordering an ultrasound, Dr. Park said carefully. I need to see what's causing this swelling. Carson lay on the examination table while the ultrasound technician moved the wand across his belly. The technician's face went pale. She excused herself and came back with Dr. Park. On the screen was an image that made Carson's world stop. A fetus, fully formed, moving, with a tiny, beating heart. That's impossible, Carson whispered. Dr. Park looked stunned. Mr. Hayes, I don't understand how this is possible, but you're pregnant. Approximately
Yeah.
14 weeks based on fetal development. Carson started hyperventilating. I'm a man. Men can't get pregnant. This is insane. I know this seems impossible, Dr. Park said, trying to stay calm. We need to run more tests. We need to understand how this happened. Over the next week, Carson underwent extensive testing. Genetic analysis showed he was XY male with no intersex variations. But ultrasounds revealed something shocking. He had developed internal reproductive structures that shouldn't exist. A
Oh my
uterus,
goodness.
small but functional, attached to his abdominal cavity. Ovaries that were producing hormones. These structures hadn't been there before. Medical records from a physical exam just 6 months earlier proved it. Somehow, impossibly, they'd been created. This is surgical modification, one specialist said, horrified. Someone altered your internal anatomy. This level of procedure would require hours of surgery and advanced medical knowledge. Carson's mind flashed back to the missing day. Sienna, the strange food, the blackout, the disconnected number and deleted profile. Someone did this to me, Carson said, his voice shaking. On that date, she drugged me, performed surgery, and put a baby inside me. The police were called. An investigation was opened, but there were no leads. No security footage from the restaurant. No
Wow.
records of anyone named Sienna matching that description. The dating app cooperated but found nothing. The profile had been created with fake information and deleted completely.
Really?
Whoever had done this to Carson had vanished like smoke. Carson
Wow.
faced a devastating choice. The pregnancy was real. The baby was healthy and growing. But this child had been forced into existence through a horrific violation. Carson's body had been surgically altered without his consent. His autonomy had been completely stolen. You have options, Dr. Park said gently. Termination is still possible, though it would be complex surgery given your unique anatomy. Or you can continue the pregnancy. Either choice is valid. Carson spent days in anguished indecision. He'd been violated.
Wow. But you can't take it out on the baby. The baby is innocent. So
In the most fundamental way. His body had been used as an experiment. Every time he looked at his swelling belly, he felt a mixture of horror and something else he couldn't quite name. But the baby inside him was innocent.
yeah.
It hadn't asked to be created this way.
True.
I don't know if I can do this, Carson told his mother, the only family member he'd told. But I also don't know if I can end it. What kind of person does that make me? His mother held his hand. It makes you human. Whatever you decide, I'm here. Carson decided to continue. The decision didn't bring peace, only resignation and a strange sense of responsibility for the life growing inside him. The pregnancy was brutal. Carson's dysphoria was overwhelming. His male body, doing something fundamentally female, made him feel disconnected from himself. People stared at the pregnant man. Strangers asked invasive questions.
Wow. Look at the baby bump.
Carson stopped leaving his apartment except for medical appointments. His friends didn't know how to support him. Some drifted away, unable to
Wow.
process what had happened. Others tried to help, but said all the wrong things. Carson felt profoundly alone. The baby moved, kicks and rolls that were simultaneously miraculous and traumatic. Carson would place his hand on his belly and feel the tiny feet pushing against his palm, and cry from the complexity of emotions he couldn't untangle. Who was Sienna? Why had she done this? Was it a sick experiment? A demented fantasy? A crime that would never be solved? The questions haunted Carson's sleepless nights. At 36 weeks, Carson's body went into labor. The delivery was complicated. His altered anatomy made natural birth impossible. Doctors performed an emergency cesarean section, carefully navigating the surgically created structures. The baby, a girl, was born screaming and healthy. 5 pounds,
Oh,
3 ounces. Perfect fingers, perfect toes. When they placed her on Carson's chest, he felt something break open inside him. This baby girl hadn't asked to be created through violation. She was innocent, blameless, deserving of love. Hi, Carson whispered through tears. I don't know what to call you yet. I don't know what we're going to do, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try to love you even though I don't understand any of this. He named her Luna, for light and darkness. Recovery was long and painful. The surgically created reproductive structures were removed during the C-section. Carson's body slowly returned to normal, though the scars remained, physical and emotional. Raising Luna was the hardest thing Carson had ever done. Some days he looked at her and saw only the violation. Other days he saw an innocent child who deserved a chance at life. The investigation
yes.
went cold. Sienna, if that was even her real name, was never found. Carson would never know why she'd chosen him, why she'd done this, what her endgame had been. He joined a support group for assault survivors. He saw therapists who specialized in trauma. Slowly, painfully, he began to heal. Luna grew into a happy, curious toddler who knew nothing of how she came to exist. Carson made peace with loving her while still grieving what had been stolen from him. Today, Luna is 2 years old. She calls Carson Dada and lights up when he enters the room. Carson has learned to separate his love for her from his trauma about her creation. The first date that destroyed and created his life simultaneously remains an unsolved mystery. Somewhere out there, a woman who committed an unthinkable crime walks free. But Carson survived.
Yeah,
He built a life from the wreckage. And Luna, innocent in all of this, has a father who chose to love her despite everything. So here's the question.
yeah.
Can love exist alongside trauma? Can something
Uh, it could be. Yeah,
beautiful grow from something terrible? And how do we heal
yeah.
when the crimes against us are never solved? Drop your thoughts below. Because sometimes the most complicated stories are the ones where there are no easy answers.
True. About this man that planet on his birthday by Degatos. The link to the video will be in the description below. Go and check them out and drop a like if you like. And comment below if you want to see more reaction like this one. And subscribe if you're new. And click the bell so you can be notified for a minute below. And I'm out. Bye. Wow.